everybody. We're going to do in this next tutorial, we're going to do the metal text effect. It's one of my favorites. In this text effects tutorial, we'll learn how to easily create metal text, a popular effect widely used in video games and movie posters. It may seem like there's a lot of steps involved, but once you've done it a few times, creating the effect won't take you more than a few minutes from start to finish. Um, to create the metal texture itself and apply it to the text, we'll be using a couple layer styles, some filters, layer blend modes, and a clipping mask. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is create a new document. Okay, so we're going to go to create new. It will be the size of the document will be 1200 pixels by 600 pixels. So make sure it's set in pixels. 1200 by 600 and 72 pixels of resolution with a white background. Okay, so make sure it is white background color is blank white, whatever white. Okay, and then we're going to hit create. Um, Next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in that background with all black. All right, so you can hit Control I and invert it. You can fill it with black, do whatever you'd like. It makes it easiest for you. All right, so now we're going to create a new blank layer right on top. So you can create that with on the layers panel there. And you'll see that Photoshop adds a new blank layer named layer 1 right above the background. Okay. Next, we're going to fill the new layer with gray. We're going to go up to the edit menu at the top of the screen and choose fill. So edit and fill. When the fill dialog box appears, click on the drop down box to the right of the word use and select color. Okay. And then we're going to find the particular color. Okay. This picks up the color picker. The color picker will open. So you can choose the color you want to fill that layer with. Choose a light gray. If you want to use the exact shade of gray I'm using, enter 195 for R, G, and B. So we're going to hit 195 R, G, B, and they already have it set up there. Okay, so 195, and hit OK, and you will see that once you click OK, when you're done, to exit out of the color picker, then you click OK to exit out of the fill dialog box. Photoshop fills the layer with gray, temporarily hiding the black filled background layer to view because it is on top. See, we have the both layers. All right. Okay, next we're going to add noise. Okay, we're going to go up to the filter menu at the top of the screen and choose noise. So we're going to hit filter, noise, add noise. Add noise. Okay. When the add noise dialog box appears, add lots of noise to the image by setting the amount to around 150%. And make sure the Gaussian and monochromatic options are selected. So I have it at 150 already. Make sure it's on Gaussian and monochromatic. Make sure that's clicked, otherwise it will be in color like that. Okay, and you hit OK. Right. So I have those two layers there. One, you can see a little white noise like in a TV screen. That's not working. Okay. We're going to then go back, going to use this noise to create the first part of our metal texture. Okay. We're going to go back to the filter menu, choose blur, and then choose motion blur. So filter, blur, and motion blur. All right. Okay. When the motion blur box dialog appears, set the angle of the blur to around -10, which it is, and then increase the distance to about 200 pixels. And it's already there, done that way. And we hit OK when we're done. Now, you'll notice that the motion blur filter has trouble blurring pixels around the edges of the document. You can see that it hasn't blurred it, which we can clearly see now. We're going to crop away those unwanted areas. We're going to use the crop tool from the tool panel, or you can press C on the keyboard. With the crop tool selected, you're going to click in the top left corner of the good texture area, then keep your mouse button held down and drag to the bottom right corner of the good texture area. Release your mouse button to view a preview of the area you'll be keeping, and the dark areas will be cropped away. So we're going to use the crop. We're going to go here and click like this to the good area, and we're going to release. And you can see we can even move the inside a little bit. And you just want to make sure you keep just the inside of the blurred area, and you're going to hit that check. and it's going to get rid of the part that is not blurred that you don't want to keep. Okay. Next, we're going to use the type tool from the tools panel, or we could just use the T shortcut on the keyboard. So you just hit T and it selects it. With the type tool selected, choose your font from the options bar along the top of the screen. For best results with this effect, use a font with thick letters. I'm going to use Arial Black. So I'm going to select Arial Black right here. And I'm going to go ahead and type caps locked metal. And then I'm going to resize it. So I'm going to hit, um, remember you can go to edit Control T and resize it. I'm going to make it as big as I can like that. And I'm going to approve it with the check right there. Okay. Once we're done with that, you're going to move the text layer below the texture layer. Okay. Click on the text layer in the layers panel. And with your mouse button or the little square on your keyboard or on your laptop, still held down, drag the layer between the gray texture, layer 1, and the background layer. When you see a highlight bar appear between the two layers, release your mouse button and Photoshop will snap it into place. So you just got to click down like this and you'll see that blue highlight and you just want to do it like that. So it's sandwiched in between the two. Okay. From there, we're going to click on layer 1 in the layers panel to select it. Okay. And then we're going to go to right click on it and we're going to create a clipping mask. Layer 1 will become indented a little bit, indicating that it's now clipped to that text layer. And you can see it right there that it's only showing on top of the letters. Okay. If we look in the document window, we can see that the gray texture now appears only inside the text. That's the clipping mask. We've done it plenty of times. It's a really cool effect. It's really easy to clip, to mask things into text, especially the clipping mask works really well. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some layer styles. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add a bevel and emboss. So click the text layer, okay, and then we're going to add the FX. Click on the FX icon on the bottom of the layers panel. Okay, from here, choose bevel and emboss from the list of layer styles. So bevel and emboss, and there we go. We have selected it. Okay. So what we're going to do is this is going to open Photoshop's layer style dialog box set to bevel and emboss options in the middle column. First, change the technique to chisel hard. So we're going to make sure that it is chiseled hard, which it is. There we go. Okay. Next, then increase the size to around 7 pixels, which it is. Drag the depth slider towards the right to increase it to around 500, and it is right there. Okay. In the shading section of the options, click on the gloss contour thumbnail, which is right here. So I'm going to click on that. This opens the contour editor. Click on the preset drop-down box at the top of the dialog box and choose ring from the list. So we're going to click on here and make sure you click ring and you hit OK. Then you're going to make sure that it is anti-aliased. Okay. We'll make sure everything is on opacity 75. Okay, we're not going to close out of the text box yet, okay? The layer style box, because we still have one more to add, but your text should now look similar to this, the one that I have in front right here, okay? That should look very similar to that. All right, make sure that your shadow mode is on there. What was it? Screen multiply. There we go. That looks more like it. So make sure that your shadow mode is on multiply, opacity is on 70 there, and okay. From there, we're going to add another layer style. Don't close out the window. We're going to add a gradient overlay. So you're going to click on gradient overlay like that, highlight it, make sure that the middle column of the layer style box will change to show options for the gradient overlay. By default, Photoshop chooses a gradient based on current foreground and background colors, black and white. But if some other gradient is selected, click on the gradient preview bar and go ahead and change them to black to white. You guys know how to do that. Make sure it's on overlay, 70% opacity. Make sure that the blend mode, like I said, is overlay, linear, style. The scale is about 100. Okay. Perfect. All right. Click OK out of the layer style dot blocks, and this is what it should look like. You're gonna hit OK. There we go, and that's what it should, where you should be at right about now. Okay. Um, Now we're going to add a new layer set to the overlay blend. Click on layer 1 in the layers panel to select it. So we're going to select layer 1. Hold down your Alt in your Windows on your PC or your Option on your Mac and click the new layer icon. So we're going to hit the alternate and click the new layer icon, and it's going to open a new layer box. Okay, this tells Photoshop to pop open the new layer dialog box where we can set some options before the new layer is added. Click inside the checkbox to the left of where it says use previous layer to create clipping mask to select the option. So we're going to go ahead and use the previous layer. Okay. Then change the mode, short for blending mode, to overlay. So we're going to hit the blending mode to overlay like that. Okay. And then opacity at 100%. A new blank layer named layer 2 set to over blend mode will appear above layer 1 in the layers panel. Like layer 1, it will be clipped to the text layer below it. All right, so we're just going to hit OK, and you'll have a blank layer on top. Okay, like that with the clipping mode, with overlay already selected. Right? We're going to add some random highlights and shadows to the metal effect. For that, we'll use Photoshop Clouds filter, along with the overlay blend mode we've already set the layer to. We're going to go up to the filter menu. We're going to select render and then choose clouds. Okay. Clouds create a lot of lots of lights and dark areas. The clouds need to be smoothed out a little bit so they look like highlights and shadows. We'll do that by blurring them and go up to the filter menu and we'll hit blur. So we'll go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. Okay. When the Gaussian blur dialog box appears, drag the slider along the bottom towards the right to increase the radius to around 10 pixels. Let's make this 10 pixels. Perfect. It's blurred it a little bit. Now you see mine is in color, so we're just going to change that layer right there. We're going to hit image, adjustments, and black and white. And you'll hit OK, and you'll see that it will just change it to black and white. It's not a problem if it's purple or whatever color. Most of you will probably have it in black and white. All right, so you can see there's some highlights in there from the clouds that we added. Okay. Next, we're going to add a new layer set to the multiply blend mode. Okay, so the same thing. We're going to hit alternate, new layer on the layers panel, and then we're going to make sure we use the previous layer. Okay, and we're going to hit multiply right here, but also fill with multi-neutral color white. We'll hit OK. All right, now we're going to grunge up our metal effect by adding some dirt and scratches to it. Go up to the filter menu, filter, okay, and choose noise. Once you hit noise, to add noise. Awesome. The add noise dialog box will appear with the same settings we used previously. No need to change them, so just click OK to exit out of the dialog box. The text is now filled with noise, and since the layers blend mode is set to multiply, only the dark specks are visible. There we go. To turn the noise into something that looks like dirt and scratches, go back to the filter menu and choose noise once again and choose medium. So we're going to go to filter, noise once again. We're going to hit medium. There we go. The medium filter is designed to remove noise from an image. Click inside the radius input box and use the up arrow on your keyboard to slowly increase its value while keeping an eye on your image in the document window. As you increase the radius, the noise will begin to disappear, leaving clumps of it behind to increase our dirt and scratches effect. A value around 9 pixels should work. Click OK when you're done. So you just keep on going up at about 9. So that's pretty good. And we just hit OK. Now you have got some dust and scratches on there. Perfect. If the dirt and scratches effects looks too dark, lower the opacity of the layer. You'll find the opacity button in the top corner of the layers panel, so you can lower the opacity a little bit. Okay, and then with that, we're done. Here's the final metal text. Okay, the cool part about it now is that we can actually change the font. You don't have to always use this font. You can go through and change it to anything you want. So that is the cool part about it. It remains editable. Like I said, it kind of only works really well with a big, nice, bold font. Okay, so that is the metal font in text metal font in Photoshop. Hope you guys enjoyed it.